Welcome to Talent on Tap. My name is Brendan Brown. I head up the recruiting team here at LinkedIn. Today we're going to be talking about our recently released Future of Recruiting Trends report. And I'm going to dig into a handful of those trends that really popped and resonated for me. And you can check out the complete report, which will be linked below. So we have gone out and surveyed over 2,800 recruiting professionals around the world in 80 different countries. In addition to that, we've pulled all sorts of insights from the 645 million plus members on LinkedIn to give us a really robust look into the future. The first thing I want to talk about is recruiting being mission critical. I think in business today, more so than ever, it's very clear that if you do not have the talent in a world where it's all about intellectual property and the talent that you can bring to your company to produce great ideas, if it is not at the top of your priority list, you are not going to be a leader in your given industry. So it is all about talent. So more about what you can do to activate yourself, your team, to have a mindset of what you're doing being mission critical. First is capacity planning. So if we need to hire 100 people into the company in the next 6 months, how much work does it take to do that? And then specifically, how many recruiters does it take to deliver those 100 hires? So you need to understand what your productivity and your output looks like. If things are mission critical for your company, you need to be able to step forward as a recruiter and educate, set expectations around, hey, here are the resources we or I need as a recruiter to make sure we deliver. And ultimately what that means is, if done well, that is how we can meet hiring demands and really help our companies win. So capacity planning is something that can be very simple, but definitely articulate your needs as a recruiter or recruiting team so the business understands what it takes to make hires happen. Second component that I wanted to highlight around recruiting being mission critical is making sure that you are being mission critical in your focus on telling your company's story. If your story is weak or you don't have a story, you can't articulate what your company's mission, vision, values, roadmap is, culture is, values are, you're not going to get my attention. If you're not prioritizing storytelling, I think you're going to be on your back foot and you're going to be falling behind as a recruiter. So those are a couple things that come to mind for me as it relates to recruiting being mission critical. Capacity planning, understand what it takes and how quickly things can get done. And secondly, make sure that you have a mind-blowing story to tell and do it on a recurring basis with every single candidate that you meet, whether you hire those candidates or not. Second trend that I wanted to highlight is the notion that recruiters will be less like salespeople and more like business people as we move into the future. So if someone's recruiting for my team, trying to build our recruiting organization, and doesn't talk to me in a way that relates to what's most important to me from a business point of view, I don't have much time for them. So then therefore, the premium on are you a good communicator to your business stakeholders in a way that they can understand is absolutely critical. One example of us working to think more like business people is use of data and insights. So nothing surprising there. But we tapped into LinkedIn Talent Insights specifically to really lay out a geographic strategy and a set of options for our business leaders to think about as it relates to where the talent is. So let me give you a quick, real example. This is going back a ways. We were recruiting a lot of people from the Pacific Northwest at one point in our time here at LinkedIn and wondered sort of what was happening with that pattern there. And then a lot of people said, well, what about other cities? We're going to go away and look at the data and understand what that data will tell us. And we came back to the business and said, hey, we found some really interesting things. One is the pool of talent in the Pacific Northwest was larger than some of the other key cities that we wanted to look at. So volume was there, but really where it started to get more interesting was the seniority of the talent in that market, because at the time we needed to hire as many application engineers as we could, sort of core engineering folks. It was in the Seattle area where there was the biggest number of folks that had that sort of general application engineering background. So the specific skills that we needed and the specific years of experience we needed were there. We needed people who weren't 15 years into their career. We need people more like 2 to 7 years. So check that box. The next piece of data that really got interesting was we looked at it and realized that our employees were 3 times more connected in that area of the country to engineering talent than anywhere else. That's a huge piece of data that nobody knew until we brought it to the table. And what that tells us was we have a built-in network, we have a built-in referral pipeline. If we ever wanted to open up an office there, we would have people that have ties to those particular places. And then the last data point we looked at was, of our biggest competitors in each one of those markets, A, are they there? And if they're there, do we compete against them and typically beat them for talent? So the answer to that was, when we looked at the Pacific Northwest, was, yeah, we do play and win there. That is a good thing. Next trend I want to highlight is that your workforce plan needs to be agile. We are only as good as how we respond when the business changes. But part of what we need to do, and part of the reason we need to have things like capacity plans and understand what we can deliver and know our business and know our process, is so when things do evolve and change, as they often do and will continue to do, is that we have a voice in that and we can educate through that. But most of all, for me, it's mindset. It's all about how I react. Am I going to complain about this? Is it going to become something that's going to really drag down the morale of the team? Or am I going to look at it as an opportunity to communicate with the business, partner with the business, pull them into this agile mentality of making sure we keep up and work collaboratively to be successful? So those were some of the trends that really popped for me. Definitely dig into the report to check out some of the other things that have been highlighted. Metrics, tech tools, bringing non-recruiting folks into your recruiting teams, and 3 skills that will define the future of recruiting. To learn more, click on the link below, and thanks for joining us on Talent on Tap.